for the last time. Walked out of the corporate halls. You know, you've done enough to have some. You don't have to lie to them and churn out the stuff and do the grind, and you had a little peace. But all it did was give me some time to see just how bad we've all been screwed. Even the ones that's done well are getting screwed. And that's the whole point of the Frank Boomer Show. Wasn't to bitch about being screwed, just try to let everybody know that it was happening. But see, the way it works, they got a very complicated algorithm that works because it works on the dynamic that everybody screws everybody, or something to that extent. And so you're getting screwed, but if you're coming out ahead of the game, or appear to be, you stay with the Ponzi scheme. You don't mess with it. And so the guys at the top is perfectly profitable because that's the way it's going to work. And they run their scheme, and it is that way. So I said, why don't we personify the four main players? We've always, the central bankers seem to be the key somewhere along the way. So that's the oligarchs, the Bolsheviks, whatever inspired that group is still alive. It was never killed. And so if you know their nature, you know they're still here. They never went away. And so the original battle that caused World War I and World War II and most of the Napoleonic Wars and most of the wars we can remember, it seems like these entities were forming. And one of them was the entities that we would simply know today as the oligarchs or the central bankers. And for shortness and conciseness, let's just call them that. The hoity-toity, the bankers. But there's also an aristocracy that seems to have moved over from monarchies into whatever power source remained. So it's basically a power game. And so I just wanted to personify the main players as oligarchs, Bolsheviks, and you got Red China, you got the Russians, and I guess that's pretty much it. And so, a history buff as I am, I love the history. And it's refreshing yet depressing to see that it is, like the oligarch guy said, you got to know the dynamics. And if the dynamics haven't changed, the events are irrelevant. So, what are the dynamics? A bold, bald faced idea that if you control the money, you could control the world no matter what happened. It would always come out on top. And they've been masterful at it. And so that's the dynamic that the aristocracy is banking on working. Even though they would seem to have no money, they spent, if you do the actual accounting, there's no way they could have anything. They've spent so much versus what is available. And so they have to be cleverly disguise this fact. They've done so with controlling world events, but they have the money to control people. And so they know they're going to win, or they feel they're going to win. Part of the game was I'm not, like I said, the dynamics are way beyond me. But it appears that the Chinese were instruments of these oligarchs in some way. And it seems like it hasn't gone as planned. So they're not as smart as they think. They think that money can buy anything. If you control the money, you control the world. And then they got so arrogant that they assumed they could do to the Chinese what they did to everybody else. And the Chinese are different. And so they're learning. And that's why the world's in turmoil now, because the transition, the reset, keeps getting delayed. And everybody's on a very tight time schedule. China is running short of water. Running short of water means you'll be running out of food. They have manufacturing which consumes 65% of their water. They don't have water. They've polluted much of their water. And they're trying to use their money to play God and rearrange the whole environment. And they are complete idiots, and their country is almost unlivable. They're in desperate straits. And they're not concerned about the oligarchs' money. They've got most of it. They're the one that received it, so they could keep the game going. And they're not playing along by throwing it back. And so that's where you have your little disturbances. And so that's how the Fuss with the Frank Boomer show is all about, is to personify the forces of the world and have a little fun with it, but kind of also give you what I believe is the real picture. Now you think about it a minute. Just think about it in real terms. Think about it at any level that you can actually grasp the concept. Let's say a poker game. You at a poker game, you got 8 guys at the table, and you're cheating, and suddenly they all know it. What's going to happen? The game is over, you got to run. So imagine a poker game, but instead of 8 people, it's 8 billion people who know you're cheating. There is no doubt of it. And you think you're just going to walk out with a pot? They know that. And so that's the dynamic that's being played out as we speak, is that the poker game, everybody playing is aware that they're being cheated. It's just a matter of who's going to actually, sell the score right here and there. Because if you don't, they're going to walk away with the whole pot. But they're cheating. So it's basically who's got the balls to say, hey, that's not right. Someone's got to, or they will walk away with the pot. And they're banking that that's it. No balls, no glory. Yes, the devil refused to take the assignment of torturer and tempter of the earth without 2 important terms. First, he required the English language. And second, he required a capitalistic monetary system in which he could control. Otherwise, he would not be interested. It would be much too difficult to control these ninnies and tempt them and hoofshabala. But with those 2, success would be assured. And so he took the assignment, and the Queen's English has lived to this day. The perfect language for the liar, for the demagogue, for the tempter, for anyone who wants to take the truth and twist it as a pretzel to his own ends, where the truth is a mangled example of what it formerly was, unrecognizable in the present moment, after language and one with money has had his hand on it. Yes, when you hand English and money to anyone, you've given them the 2 weapons they need for ultimate destruction. Fortunately, the real power in the world today speaks Mandarin, but of course you notice he hasn't abolished English. Finds it quite convenient to keep it around. Otherwise, he would have already gotten rid of it. Yes, the Chinese, you see, aren't really despicable. They simply need stuff. Yes, they need stuff. What do the Chinese need? Well, they need water, most of all. You see, they haven't used their resources well at all. They used it to attain capital.